All right, what's first? What's first? All right, we need to get the tiers up here. We gotta type it in here. What's the first one? What did we say it was? This is graduating. Yeah, graduating with honors, of course. Okay, we've got the next one down. This is you're able to solo it's technically a group project, but you're able to do it solo. Okay, we've got you've disappointed me, and now we need to talk about your exam. And then here we've got oh yeah, you don't meet the prereqs for this class. Is he gonna do that to me? How do I don't know if I want to add it to my dictionary. Hold on, what if I do this? Will it be not mad at me? There we go. Okay, and this one expelled, obviously. Lowest tier. Alright, let's, see me after class. That's better. I like that. Alright, thanks Boofin. It's shorter, and that's what I like about it. Alright, so first, here's where I want to start. I want to start with the planet cards. So maybe I could like grab them. I can move them up here. Okay. Meet in the prereqs. Alright, so if we're gonna rank the planet cards, what we gotta talk about is like what is the best poker hand, right? What do we mean by what is the best? So, if we just look at the numbers, so obviously series here for flush houses and Eris for flush fives, like these have the biggest numbers. Neptune here has the second biggest numbers. And then we've got below those, I think it's like Planet X, Mars, and then Straights or something like that. Like if we just go by the numbers, that's how it goes. Like Straights are actually kind of in the middle. Is that true? Or is Mars, is that 125? What we could do, I did this so that I could go here. Nice. Except then I lose the chat. Alright, so we've got Saturn is plus 30 over 3. We've got Earth is 25 over 2, but then Mars is 30-30. So Mars and Saturn, these are the same. We can say this is on it doesn't matter. The Saturn is going to end up in the same place in both patches. So it doesn't matter. We'll just say this is on the experimental patch, just so that we could clear the air. So obviously these have the bigger numbers, these down here. Planet X, even bigger than Saturn here. But the problem with all of these hands, you can't play them very consistently very early on. Definitely you can get there in the mid game to the end game, but if you want something that you can start taking and start leveling up early, definitely Straights. Straights are the sort of middle ground between being reasonable enough to assemble the hand, but then also being high enough scoring. And because it's so high scoring, you can get away with playing less hands. You can get away with, here the Jupiter is plus 2 molt and 15 chips. Saturn is plus 3 molt and 30 chips. The molt doesn't matter that much early on. So like the plus 2 here, plus 3, that doesn't really matter. That's why I said like in the experimental patch, the Saturn card's going to end up in the same place. The thing that matters most is the plus chips number, because you get all of your plus molt from your jokers anyway. It's really just how many chips can you get, because there's much fewer of the plus chips jokers. So okay, between the two of these, if Saturn has twice as many chips, then ignoring everything else, then Straights are going to be worth twice as many points. So you play half as many Straights. Rather than playing 2 flushes, you play 1 straight. So I think, if we go back over here, I think then that means Saturn is the highest of all of the hands here. The question is like, how high does it go? Compared to other consumables, is this going to be the top tier, or is it going to be, you know, down here? And I think, you know, if I compare this to things like, okay, Empress, like definitely this is better than Empress. Empress only giving you +4 molt. This gives you chips and molt. Is it better than like picking up a Hermit card? Is it better than picking up a Glass card? If it's not better than picking up a Glass card, is it still, you know, good enough? And I think, you know, all of the Planet cards, because they give you increased scoring without using up your Joker slots, I think that, you know, gives value to all of the Planet cards, just generically, not just Saturn. So I think Saturn for me is up here. Feel free to disagree. Now the question is, like, for Eris now and Series, for these other, you know, like secret hands, these high scoring hands, do they come close? Do they reach that same level that Saturn does? You know, for example, if you're going for, you know, some kind of like epically high scoring run, you know, the benefit of playing flush 5 is whatever jokers that you have, they care about you playing certain ranks. They care about you playing certain suits. And so the easiest way to satisfy that, the easiest way to satisfy your jokers, is to just play all of the same card. That's not necessarily to say that you can do that very easily, but that's like where the incentives are. That's, you want to build your deck in that direction if you can. I think in a normal run, you know, let's contextualize this. Let's say we're talking about just 8 antes, you know, just a normal run. And regardless of what stake you're on, I think flush 5s are out of reach. Unless you get very specific jokers like Vagabond or Trading Card to really enable you to play flush 5. I think you can get there in 9 antes, but it doesn't feel like you can get there in 8 antes. And if you do get there with the flush 5, by the time you do get there, it's so late in the run, you already have high enough other levels on, you know, other hands, right? You have high enough level straights that playing a flush 5 is nonsensical after a certain point, right? So I think for me, flush 5 is at least down here, and then if I'm comparing, let's say, flush 5 to Series here, then I would say they're close. I think flush houses, definitely, what's nice about flush houses is you can unlock them very early. You can unlock them by playing just one suit changing tarot card to turn, if you have a pair and one other card, you can turn a full house into a flush house. And so I think for me, that's going to give flush houses the edge. And I'm going to change the stream title here. 1 second. So now we're on all consumables tier list. Boom. Alright, flush houses are more fun than flush 5. Yeah, because flush 5 you just make the whole deck all one card, and then so, you know, when you're digging through your deck, when you're drawing your cards, when you're discarding, it becomes stale. For me, stale. Obviously, you know, if I'm going for some high powered, you know, high endless run, high anti-endless run, I'm gonna do it because that's where the power is. It's just boring. That's why, you know, I feel with what is it, Saturn, or with the Neptune cards, like, I think playing straight flushes is engaging. It's exciting. It's also you know, can be scary sometimes. Screen looks zoomed in. Is it? Yeah, I want it to be zoomed in so that it's easier to see the cards after we rank them. We might zoom out. So like all the stuff at the bottom, we don't need to see those yet. Yeah. So just reminding folks here, Trey asks, we're in the context of beating Ante-8. And, you know, maybe there's some slight nuance if we're talking about different stakes, but now that, you know, the stakes, the difference is you just have the Joker differences, right? The Joker stickers. We don't have the -1 hand size anymore. Black Hole, probably, yeah, you know, Black Hole is going to be up here with Saturn cards. So the thing about Black Hole is it upgrades all of your hands, but it only upgrades your hands one time. And so if you're only ever playing just the one hand anyway, it's equal rather than strictly better, in my opinion. And what's nice about Saturn cards is, you know, if you're playing on the Magic deck, you get the Fool, you can copy it with the Saturn card. Or you can copy Saturn cards with the Fool, which you can't do with the Black Hole. So So I'm not gonna put black hole above Saturn. Too bad. All right, what about this other riffraff here? Where do you want Planet X? 5 of a kind? 5 of a kind is just budget flush 5. 5 of a kind goes down here, 4 of a kind goes up here. Here's why. If we go, let's go back, hold on, let me push the button. Yeah, if we go back over here, so like, okay, Mars is 3 molt, 30 chips. We've got Planet X is 3 molt, 35 chips. So, you know, long term, the difference between playing one additional card, 5 of a kind instead of 4 of a kind, that extra card is worth, you know, plus 15%. That's it, just 15% more points for the extra 5 chips. If you're, you know, obviously 5 of a kind starts at a higher level, you know, starts at, you know, higher base than 4 of a kind does, but you can start leveling up 4 of a kind early. You can start leveling up 4 of a kind in ante 1 and ante 2 even before you play any 4 of a kind, whereas like 5 of a kind you have to unlock it. So definitely 4 of a kind is above 5 of a kind. And I kind of feel the same way about Earth and Venus here. Like if I'm comparing these, it's pretty close. It's further away than Mars and Planet X are, right? Where you've got the difference between 20 and 25 is like a 25% difference there. You know, about a quarter more score. But getting 3 of a kind is like way easier than getting full houses. So, you know, I would put 3 of a kind a little bit higher. I like, you know, if you're going for flush 5s, then I like having 4 of a kind as a backup hand. If you're going for, you know, straight flushes, you could play straights as a backup hand. If you're going for flush houses, you can also play straights as a backup hand, though, you know, more likely to play flushes. Alright, also doesn't get screwed by things like -1 hand size. Yeah, so what's nice about playing 3 of a kind is if you just hold on to 2 cards and you throw 5 away. So if you have -1 hand size, it doesn't hurt you as much. And so, you know, even if you can play 4 of a kind, even if you take Ouija and Ouija gives you like 12 copies of your kings, you've got 12 kings in your deck, I still might go for 3 of a kind in certain circumstances, just because it's easier to draw them. And then you have more cards left over in hand for like steel cards and gold cards. So I think we're gonna do this. We got definitely 5 of a kind is better than full house. Okay. 3 of a kind is up here. 3 of a kind is up here. That's tough. I don't know, maybe 3 of a kind like this. Maybe these are close enough, and if these are close enough, maybe 4 of a kind doesn't need to be up here. Maybe 4 of a kind goes down here. Maybe that's what it's supposed to look like. And then flushes obviously are very consistent, so I give flushes the edge over 3 of a kind. I think that's reasonable. Yeah, I got a soft spot for 3 of a kind also. I got a soft spot for Uranus. Every time I see it, it makes me smile. I don't know where we put it though. How about this? How about the plutonium? Plutonium is terrible. It's just not worth it. Mercury is slightly more worth it because it's 50% more chips. If you're going to win with high card, you're going to win with the jokers that make high card happen. You're going to win with the jokers that give you plus molt and plus chips, like we were trying to do. And if you have those jokers giving you plus 50 molt and plus 200 chips, then it doesn't matter what level your planets are. Yeah, so like, you know, as a consumable, as a card, Pluto sucks. But, you know, as like a build around, as like, oh, I'm able to play high card when I have the appropriate jokers, then playing high card is great because then you can have extra hand size for, you know, like gold cards, steel cards, now the new blue seal cards. I think I like Uranus in the middle a little bit. So maybe I like Uranus higher than Jupiter. I like it higher than flushes. I probably like it higher than 4 of a kind actually. I think I think 2-pair is a very reasonable hand to play. I think it's really not difficult to play 2-pair. Also, it being 4 cards instead of 5 cards, then again, you know, if you have the -1 hand size, like the previous iteration of the gold stake, then it's easier to play that one. Yeah. Yeah, how about... All right, we'll do tarot cards first, and we'll do spectral cards after. So what do we want to do with the tarot cards, right? Like, how about something simple? Something simple like Hierophant. Hierophant gives you plus 30 chips to 2 cards, and then the question is like, okay, is that comparable to something like this? Saturn card? Probably not, right? Because Saturn is going to apply to every hand. Like, this could theoretically, you could get 2 cards here, 2 cards that have the plus chips, and you can put them in the same hand. I think Hierophant, yeah, and I think it's better than Uranus here. I think I'll put it just a little bit above. And I think if I have to choose between Hierophant versus Empress, I think Empress just has a slight edge. It's not great. You know, I don't love to see these. So the thing about the planet cards is, you know, this is like ranking them against each other, right? You know, like Saturn cards are better than these other planet cards here. Whereas like the tarot cards, if I rank these against like an average tarot card, right? You have to account for, if we're going to rank these, we have to account for the opportunity cost. And so if I open up an Arcana pack and I see a bunch of tarot cards, these are not the tarot cards that I like to see here. Off topic, what happens if nothing happens because it's off topic? Alt suit changing cards are, in my opinion, pretty good. Pretty good. So here's, I'll put them up here. Suit changing tarot cards, pretty good. I think I'd rather have the planet cards for the increased scoring rather than the enabling, but I think the enabling is very important. So here's the deal with these, right? These are all connected to, you know, if I want to play straight flushes, if I want to play flush houses, then you need this technology, right? You need the suit changers. And so the suit changers allow you to play the higher ranking hands, the higher scoring hands. And if you're playing a higher scoring hand, you can get away with fewer jokers. You can get away with fewer enhanced cards, fewer glass cards. You can get away with less. And then so you can have more of your joker slots dedicated to money, more of your joker slots dedicated to, you know, value generators, tarot card generators. And so these also, like, if you get a suit changer early on, then that makes it really easy to make flushes. And you don't necessarily have to level up your flushes, but there's just so many jokers that support flushes that it's worthwhile to do that in the early game. Even if you end up playing straights, like we ended up starting with the Lusty Joker giving us a buff to all of our hearts, but then we ended up playing straights because, you know, straights are just worth so many points. All right, what would make me pick Ceres over Eris? I feel like I always hold out on Flush 5 rather than play Flush House. It depends on the type of run that you're doing. So what we said at the beginning, we said we're going to play in the context of going to ante 8 only. And in the context of going to ante 8 only, I'm going to play a flush house as early as I can. And I'm not going to go for a flush 5 because I know I'm not going to get enough tarot cards to make it happen, actually. If you just keep holding, if you just keep waiting, it's just never going to happen. It's just never going to come to you. Between these, yeah, we put Sun at the top here, Hearts for Bloodstone. We put, I think, you know, if we look at the uncommon jokers, hold on, let's go over here. Let's go to the collection jokers here. So the uncommon ones here, we've got Bloodstone's obviously the best, right? We got the X Molt, that's the best one. Between the three of these, I think the plus molt is the strongest early. And then also because this is plus molt on scoring, on each card being scored, then it's compatible with steel cards. It's compatible with glass cards. And so this has the edge over these other things here, or has the edge over you some other kind of joker that's going to give you plus molt. I think agate is very powerful. It's almost as powerful as Fibonacci. And then between the two of these, I think the money one is the worst. As much as I love getting the money, I think it's the worst one. I think the arrowhead is pretty funny on the plasma deck. You just get a bunch of chips from the arrowhead. Yeah. Sorry, not sorry. Stars down here. There is some consideration for, you know, there's also the seeing double joker that gives you x2 when you have clubs. There's also the blackboard that gives you ×3 when you have black cards, so like, you know, moon and world here. In the September demo version, we had the blackboard and we didn't have anything else, and so it was, you would always just make everything into black cards. But now that we have the bloodstone's obviously going to be the best. Clubs are your favorite because you like the blue color with the high contrast. I absolutely feel the same way. Yeah, I love looking at them. Though the spades, though the face cards are purple, and so it's close. It's close, but I do, you know, you don't get the face cards all the time, and so just like looking at the blue clubs, I enjoy. All right, what about, oh, here's an easy one. All right, tell me where the hangman goes. Tell me, you know, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't go lower than 3, so 1, 2, or 3 for the hangman. Damn, Murphy with the club, the glass clubs, the ice cubes, yeah. All right, so let's say we do this. Let's say we put hangman at the top because that seems like what people want. Is okay. Now what about hermit? So how do these compare? All right, let's say oh, I see someone saying even, you know, maybe hermit, maybe we go a little bit lower with the hermit. Maybe not even top tier. Maybe it doesn't even go up there with the hangman. I mean, what about this? What about death? How does death compare to hermit? How does death compare to hangman? Let's go back. So $20 is hard to argue with. But here's the thing though. So like, let's say you open the Arcana pack. Let's say you take the $20. Then what are you spending the money on? Right? Are you going to take that money and you're going to go buy a Celestial pack and then try to get some, you know, additional scoring from a planet card? Are you going to be buying a voucher with that money? Are you going to be re-rolling in the shop for better jokers? How much re-rolling do you actually get from $20? Depends on the ante, right? Depends on the situation. Also with hangman, you know, depends on the situation when it's good or not. That's not true. Hangman is always good, always the best. I always take hangman over $20. I don't necessarily know if that's correct. That's just what I do. So I take hangman over hermit. Would I rather have hermit or one of these high scoring planet cards? If that's what the question is, then I think hermit goes down here for me. I think Neptune is worth $20. Hermit gives you more than $20 worth of value, kind of, right? Because, you know, what you want to do is you want to buy all the booster packs in every shop, but you can't afford to buy every booster pack in every shop. But if you have the Hermit, then you can spend down. Like, you get this big burst of money and you can clear out the shop with that. Whereas if you don't have the Hermit, then sometimes you're spending money on the booster packs and you're losing money on interest. And so it costs you a little bit extra there. This is where I put Hermit relative to these. I think the planet cards are going to be better than the money. And then if I have a Fool, I would rather use the Fool to copy the planet cards rather than giving me just the money. Temperance, though, is a different story. Temperance is either $8 or $50. There's no in between for the Temperance. And so I take Temperance over Hangman. That's the one where, you know, Hangman is worth 20 bucks, but I don't know if Hangman is worth 50 bucks. You know what I'm saying? Is Temperance better than Saturn? Yeah. Is Hangman better than Saturn? Also, yeah. You're right. Is Anti-8 Temperance really better than Hermit? That much better? Oh. Yeah, I think it is. Because I think if you have the extra money and you're able to see more shops, what you can do is you can get things like, you know, extra X-Molt in the last couple shops. You can get things like extra, you know, glass cards in the last couple shops. Like, a thing that you can do with the extra money with Temperance that you can't do with Hermit is in the last shop, you can re-roll 6 times and you can buy 3 tarot cards. And you can take all 3 of the, well, you could take 2 of those tarot cards with you into the final encounter. You could bring a Justice card, that way you got 1 in the chamber. You could bring a Death card, that way you never miss on the boss. Alright, how many fun runs do I not buy Saturn compared to not buying Hermit? Oh, Saturn over Hermit every time. That's not even joking, not even a question. Alright, what's next? How about the Fool? Alright, would you rather have 50 bucks or 8 bucks or the Fool here? I think, you know, the Fool could be anything, but a lot of times the Fool is nothing. And a lot of times what you want with the Fool is you just want to get Temperance. And so I think the Fool for me is better than Hangman because of the versatility, but I think it's worse than Temperance. Yeah, you know, it could be anything. It could even be a goat. I think Justice cards, glass cards, are going to be generally better than all of these planets. Is picking up a glass card better than Saturn? Probably. Yeah, Pluto's out of here. It's only plus 10 chips. Pluto's been out of here the whole time. Alright, we said Death card, right? Death card, I think Death is better than Hangman. Like, there's stuff that you can do with Death that you can't do with Hangman. It's gotta be. Death's gotta be better than Hangman. I don't think Death is as good as the Fool though, because Death's not gonna give me 50 bucks. But it could give me like a red gold card, and that red gold card could be worth 6 bucks. Alright, how do you feel about Strength? Strength is not up here. Strength, I feel like, should be... I feel like it's there. It's kind of mid, yeah. But is it like, is it high mid or is it low mid? Like, are we gonna have to talk about the exam, or can we... I guess there's like a big gap here between you're able to solo the group project or not. Strength is situational. I feel like, you know, with Saturn being as ranked as high as it is, you know, going for straights as often as I do, then Strength is not the thing that I want to do in that situation. I think, you know, as an enabler, it's worse Death, right? I got to use 3 Strength cards in order to do the same thing that Death does. I think it's not as good an enabler as like all of these suit changes are, so I think it's definitely below those. I think I would rather have Strength than these enhancements here. I'd rather just have like the deck consistency, getting the repeats rather than getting the extra scoring. Yeah, I feel, you know, I'm not gonna fight you if this is where you want it. All right, what about steel cards? Okay, steel cards are the better scoring enhancements, so if I'm comparing these, it's definitely better than those. I generally would rather have a steel card than a suit changing card. Would I rather have a steel card or 20 bucks? I'd rather have the 20 bucks. I mean, steel cards you want like 2 of, and then that's it. I mean, you want more steel cards than that, but like Chariot specifically, like the card Chariot, I want like 2 of them, and then that's it. the Hermit barrier is going to be hard to breach. It's going to be hard to get past the Hermit. But I think Justice does it. I think Hangman and Death do it. I think the wheel is good enough. I'll put it there. The wheel is just, it's just good business. It's good value. It's expected value. I mean, the wheel, you have a, let's see here. You have like a 1 in 8 chance to get one tarot card, or sorry, one planet card. You have a 1 in 8 chance to get 2 planet cards. So it's like 1 in 4 gives you like 1.5 planet cards-ish. It does have excitement value. Like you open up the booster pack, Temperance for the 50 bucks has like the most excitement value, but I feel like Wheel has like, you know, almost as good excitement value. I think Wheel is better than any planet. Like if I have to choose between Wheel and Saturn, that's going to be tough. If I have to choose between Wheel and these, that's also tough. Maybe the thing that I said about it being better than every planet is wrong. It's not better than 20 bucks. Wheel is not better than 20 bucks. As much as I enjoy gambling, Wheel's not better than 20 bucks. Because like so much stuff doesn't matter. Like, okay, you know, if we're talking about, you know, we're just talking about ante-8, then even in ante-8, the plus 10 molt from a holographic card is going to fall off very rapidly. And so for that reason, I can't support the Wheel going any higher than this. Lucky cards though, banger. Lucky cards better than Hermit. In defense of Mercury, have you seen someone's got a gold stake streak with mainly pairs? Yeah, I got a gold streak too with mainly straights. But that's not the strength of the Mercury card. That's just the strength of the jokers which enable you to play pairs. 2 lucky cards with the new Giga Chad buff? Absolutely. Banger. Alright, what about stone cards? So like stone cards are definitely better than Mercury, but I don't think they're much better than that. So like if the thing that you want to do is enable you to play pairs and high card and score more with less technology, then you know, definitely the tower helps you do that, right? Emperor does, wait, so you're saying, hold on, let me grab it from Emperor. You're saying higher than Hermit, it's going to clear the Hermit barrier? I mean, what? This is easy to do, right? All we have to do is figure out, okay, like look at all these cards here. We'll put Emperor exactly in the middle, right? Half of the time it's better, half of the time it's worse. So we just put it right here. Wheel? Wait, that's not true, because Emperor gives you 2 cards, and so like, you know, you could get 2 good ones, you could get 2 bad ones, you could get a good one and a bad one, but then it's a good one, so, you know, maybe I still prefer taking Hermit over Emperor because I prefer, you know, the security. I prefer the guarantee. You know, two in the hand is worth 1 in the bush. Is that how it goes? Hermit in the hand is worth Emperor in the bush. Get out of here. Alright, what about Judgment for a Joker card? I think Judgment is better than Earth. I think Judgment is better than Planet X. Is Judgment better than Jupiter? Probably. I'll put Judgment here. I'd rather see Uranus than I see a Judgment card. Like, obviously, if you get the Judgment very early on, then it's very exciting, but then it falls off very rapidly. Yeah. Hey, I'm not gonna apologize for that. I'd rather see Uranus than seeing Judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. Yeah. Judgment useless after ante 3 or 4? I think it's useless earlier than that, but I get what you mean. All right, how about? Okay, what about? Okay, so we know where the Emperor lands. What about Priestess? Priestess is 2 planets. You know, it could be a Saturn card. It could be a series card. And if that's the case, then I think it goes down here. I prefer it over these. I prefer it over the suit changers. I feel like if you think that Priestess is not so good, you're not so wrong either, but I do think it's better than these enablers. I think it's better than the suit changers. Even if it doesn't give you the thing that you want it to give you, like it doesn't give you the planet card that you're hoping for, it gives you 2 planet cards that you just hold on to. And then those planet cards will not spawn, right? Because normally if you want to block planet cards from spawning, if you want to block the duplicate planet cards, you can buy them and you can hold on to them. Yeah. So like Priestess, if you see it in the shop, you just buy it for $3 and then you sell it for $2, right? If you don't get what you want. So like the fail case is very low. Now, if you see all of these in an Arcana pack, like you open the booster pack and you see Priestess, Chariot, Sun here, I think you're supposed to take the Steel card for the guaranteed scoring help, and I think you take the Priestess over the suit changing enablers. Campfire loves Priestess. Yeah, but Campfire is rare, so you can't necessarily count on that. All right, what about gold card? Gold card is at least as good as the wheel. And I think I like Devil better than Hermit. I think most of the time you take the Hermit instead of the Devil, but if you get the Devil early enough, then like the card can pay for itself. Like you get more than $20 worth of value. Yeah, I feel like even if the 1 gold card doesn't pay out that much, even if you don't see that 1 gold card that much, just having a gold card allows you to, you know, copy it with Death. It allows you to do other kind of synergistic things. So I think generally I like having the slow trickle of the gold cards rather than the Hermit card. Also, like early on, the Hermit's not going to do that much. And when I say early on, the Hermit not going to do very much, I mean in the literal first round, Hermit doesn't do that much. But after you pass 2 rounds, then Hermit is $20. Lovers is similar flavor to the suit changers. The thing that Lovers can do that the suit changers don't do, Lovers can, you know, allow you to double dip on. You have the uncommon jokers. Let's say you've got the what is it? Let's say you got the Bloodstone that gives you the X2s. Let's say you got the Arrowhead that gives you the plus chips. You've got both. You can use the Lovers card to double dip on both. If you like playing the Ancient Joker, if you like playing Olbap, then you know the Lovers card can enable that. If you're different from me and you don't hate Flower Pot, then of course Lovers can enable that. But I think for me personally, I'd rather just go all in on one suit rather than like kind of be on the border here between different suits. So I put Lovers down here, actually probably like that. I'd rather just get a Jupiter card rather than Lovers. Actually, I'd rather get 3 of a kind. I'd rather get 5 of a kind. Yeah, I'll put it there. Lovers makes your cards more susceptible to boss blinds. You're talking about the boss blinds that debuff your suits, and there's 4 different ones, and so they come up more often. And even if you just hit 1 of them, then it's going to debuff all of your wild cards. You think that's kind of a stinky experience? You kind of hate that? Yeah, I'm not super into that either. Maybe. Slay the Spire. I've played some Slay the Spire in the past. Not to the level of depth that I've played Balatro, though. Alright, now we're going to rank the Spectrals. Okay, which of these do we hate the least? I think we'll go Immolate first. Okay, Immolate. where do we... Immolate is better than Hangman, definitely. Immolate, you know, kind of has this awkward thing where you can't aim it, right? You just remove 5 random cards. But I think just removing any 5 cards is still worth it. Like, you immolate, you lose 2 of your kings, you lose 1 of your steel cards, 1 of your gold cards. It's still fine because you don't need all of the cards in your deck. You just need 5 cards. That's it. You just need 5 specific cards that you get every time. And so, you know, maybe I would go Immolate better than the Fool. Is Immolate better than Temperance? Yeah, I think Immolate's better than Temperance. Like, obviously it doesn't give you as much money, but like it gives you $30 worth of card removal, so I'm into it. Alright, what about the Soul giving you legendaries? So it has a 1 in 5 chance of giving you Perkeo, and it's got a, you know, 2 in 5 chance of making you sad. Okay, the Soul is like Wheel of Fortune, right? I mean, it doesn't belong down here, but it's like Wheel of Fortune, right? Hold on, let's zoom out a skosh. There we go. So, where, you know, sometimes it hits big and sometimes it just does nothing, right? I don't know. It's definitely up here. It's definitely better than, you know, just a planet card. It's better than card removal. I think it's still worth it. I think it's worth taking. I think even on the chance that you get you know, Chico or you get Yorick, I think it's still worth taking. You know, now we got the Triboulet, you're not going to lose. Probably not going to lose. If you pick up the new Yorick, if you pick up Canio, you're probably going to be fine. And so, like, if we're just playing for 8 antes, then I think you take it. Hey, we explained why Saturn is above the black hole. The black hole you can't copy with the Fool. So they're like equal most of the time, in the sense that like you only play 1 hand anyway, and Saturn is better because you can copy it with the Fool. Yeah. Well, yeah. Late, you're late to class, but it's okay. You know, we weren't taking attendance anyway. All right, Chico's still decent. You still get, so here's the thing about the Fool or the Soul, right? If you don't get the thing that you want, you just sell it for $10. Even if you don't sell it right away, you just hold on to it, and it makes your Temperance worth $10 more. Black hole doesn't count for constellation. Yeah, you know, the like 0.5% of the time that you have constellation, black hole doesn't count as like one of the 40 planet cards that you use. And so your constellation is going to be that much weaker, and for that reason, black hole goes down here. Question, you take Saturn over black hole if there isn't a Fool in the shop already? Yes, because there could be a Fool in a future shop, and so it's worth, you know, doing a little bit of gymnastics, you know, doing a little bit to make the Fool work. And so I'm always playing around the Fool, and sometimes I get played myself. All right. We'll put the black hole back up there. All right, what about... Okay. Tell me, is Ouija a number 3 or a number 4? It's not going in number 2. Is it a number 3 or is it a number 4? First time chatter coming in just to say number 4. Alright, Gast, you gotta explain yourself. Gast, why is it number 4? Everyone else agrees with you. Tell me why is it number 4 and not number 3? You don't like it? Does anyone, all right, okay, does anyone in class, does anyone think it should be expelled instead? You like Splatter, like saying Ouija? It's okay. It's mid. I'm mid on Ouija. You think it's too far to expel it? Okay. Here's the thing that's weird about Ouija. If we compare Ouija and like Ectoplasm, both of these give you -1 hand size. Why do they both give you -1 hand size? Why do they both do the same thing? Why do they both have the same drawback? Like all these other ones have unique, different kind of drawbacks. Why they got the same one? That's a strike. That's a strike against you. All right. You know, let's say like the thing that you like. Why do you take Ouija? Like, what do you want to do with it? Right? You want to get duplicates so you can make 4 of a kind, 5 of a kind, full house. Everyone loves taking Ouija and going 5 of a kind. Well, if you have -1 hand size, even though you have the more duplicates in your deck, it's actually not that much easier to make 5 of a kind compared to a strength card. I think strength card, you know, is going to help you make 5 of a kind close to or perhaps more than Ouija, right? Because if you have hand size 7, you're holding on to 4 and then you're discarding 3 at a time, right? Redrawing 3 at a time. It's really hard for you to actually get your 5 of a kind. I think 5 of a kind is a bit of a trap, bit of a bait, let's say. Whereas you could use Ouija to very reasonably play 4 of a kind. Then it's not so bad. Then you hold on to 3 and you discard 4, right? Or even 3 of a kind is reasonable. Even full houses somewhat reasonable. I think Ouija doesn't get expelled, but I think the class is right that it goes in number 4. I think Ouija is better than a stone card. I think if you got the extra hand size, like you got the Troubadour and you got the Bean, and then you go for the combo with Ouija and you just convert more cards at one time, I think that's a good time. Hey, Drizzle, that's interesting. So delete 2 random cards and then change the rank of the remaining cards or something like that. Like it doesn't have to be exactly 2 cards, but it could be some like 3 cards or something like that. I think that's interesting. I think that might be too powerful. Yeah, this is gonna make it onto YouTube. The other ones, YouTube has done the processing. Now I just have to make a thumbnail for them. That's the holdup. That's why the VODs haven't gone on YouTube is because I was making thumbnails for all the gold stakes videos. All right, we're done with the Ouija. We're done with the -1 hand size. What about this -1 hand size, Ectoplasm? All right, definitely better than Ouija. All right. Random card becomes negative. That's not really true, is it? Right? You just sell all your jokers and you make the specific one negative. Okay, having a negative joker is definitely better than all of these scoring enhancements, right? It's definitely better than here. Thing about Ectoplasm is you only get to do it once. You can't go -2. You can only do it once. For folks who don't already know, the way Ectoplasm works is -1 hand size the first time you use it. Second time you use it is -2 on top of that. And so the first one takes you down to hand size 7, and then the second use takes you down to hand size 5. And if that's how it's going to be, I only get to do it once. But the one time that I do it is pretty alright. I think... Here's the thing with, you know, like, you know, comparing these two. Black Hole you always take. I think Ectoplasm you don't always take. Even if your first one, even if it's just -1, I think sometimes certain builds you don't want to give up your hand size depending on what you're actually using it on. Wait, so... Okay, Destroyer says Ectoplasm is... When you need it, it's too late to be able to do well without jokers. Wait, I think you might got Ectoplasm mixed up with something else. Unless you're talking about like the way you use the Ectoplasm is you sell all your jokers and you make the one thing negative. Yeah, I don't always take Ectoplasm. If I'm in 14, then we take Ectoplasm. But if I'm in Anti-7, I don't think we take Ectoplasm. We always take Immolate though. You don't even need to look, you just take it. Alright, Hex is definitely worse than Ectoplasm. Hex is, you have to give up all your jokers. Like, that's bad. Alright, which do you take more often? Do you take Ouija or do you take Hex more often? One or two. One for Ouija, two for Hex. Which is more often? Hex is cool with Eternal Jokers. Yeah, if we're playing on higher stakes, not even just high stakes, just like mid stakes, you have the Eternal Jokers. Hex is pretty cool. Hex is only slightly better than Earth. Okay. Hold on. So you're saying here it's not as good as Venus. Okay, we know it's not as good as Venus. The question is like, is it better than Earth? I think it's better than Earth. So like, here's the thing about Earth is, you know, you can't really play full houses that consistently early on. Like when you get a strength card, then you can, you know, then you can play full houses, right? But early on, you can't really play full houses. Early on, that's when you want to use the Hex, right? When you just have few jokers, you hit it with the polychrome and then you can start building something else differently. But I think, for me, I think Earth is more useful than Hex, more useful more often. I think Hex is, for me, I don't use either of these anyway. So I don't know. I could go either way on this. I feel these are close enough. Maybe we'll do it that way. We'll go Hex. You know, if you feel Hex is close to an Earth card, we could put it that way. I just think, you know, the Ghost deck, you start with the Hex card, and then so you get to use it right away. Because if you didn't start with the Hex card, any other situation where you have a Hex card, you're just never going to use it. Same with Ankh. Ankh is, you know, similar flavor to Hex here where it deletes all your stuff. But I think Ankh is better in the sense that you can... It's better to have 2 copies of a good Joker rather than to have a polychrome copy of a good Joker, right? Now, what about... Ankh is probably better than all of these. I think Ankh is worse than a suit changer. I value the deck consistency. Actually, Ankh is probably worse than a strength card. There are other ways to get copies of Jokers, and so you don't need Ankh, even with Eternals. Because if you got Eternals, then Ankh is going to copy one of your random Eternals, and the reason why you have Eternals is because you weren't able to sell them. Like, you picked up an early Droll Joker, you picked up an early Crazy Joker, and it's like, oh, I can't sell it because it's Eternal. And then now my Ankh is going to copy my Crazy Joker, right? Like, you don't actually want that. Alright, Purple Seal got to be pretty good. Purple Seal got to be, you know, it makes tarot cards as its tarot card printing action. Is it better than Ectoplasm? I think so. I think Ectoplasm is situational. I think Purple Seal is pretty all the time you're going to do it. You know, as far as like, if you need deck building, if you need deck manipulation, Purple Seal going to solo that. Yeah. You think Purple Seal is S tier? You think Purple tier going to graduate with honors? I think Purple deserves graduation. I think Purple is better than a Planet card. I think Purple's better than the Fool, right? If I have to choose between 50 bucks and a purple card, I'd probably rather have a purple card. If I have to choose between the soul and the purple card, I think we gotta go with the soul. I think we gotta, that's where the buck stops. I think it doesn't go higher than this. Because you get a purple card could be anything. It could even be a temperance. It could even be a goat. Medium better than the most value generating jokers. Yeah. Purple seal is better than superposition. It's better than the 8-ball, even the new 8-ball. It's better than vagabond. I'd rather have a purple seal than a vagabond. Because I can work with that. I could cook with that. Alright. How about... Alright, let's talk about the new blue seal. Alright. Where's Derek going? It's at least as good as a Saturn card. It's at least as good as a planet card, right? It's got to graduate. All right, we're sending them to graduation at the least. Yeah. It's self-enabling. Was self-enabling? Oh, purple seal self-enabling. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely. I would rather have the deck manipulation. You know, if it's early on, I would rather have like card removal and like death cards, so like copy cards. Like this, you don't need the extra planet cards. You can survive without this. You know, once you have more planet cards, then you get like diminishing returns on leveling up your poker hands. And so, okay, maybe we won't, go that high. Better than glass, I think. Is that true? No, glass can get you out of some seriously sticky situations. Yeah, if it's late enough, if it's like anti-6 or whatever, I'd rather have a glass card. If it's anti-5, I'd rather have a glass card. Alright, Wraith goes, is better than Hex. It's better than Planet cards. It's better than Jupiter. It's worse than Judgment. There we go, we figured it out. It's definitely worse than Judgment. I'm not paying, even if I got only $10 in the bank, I'm not paying $10 for anything. I'm not taking Wraith. I do think it's better than Jupiter though. I think Jupiter is bad enough that Wraith is better than Jupiter. I think these planets are bad enough that it's better than a planet card. But that's not saying anything about Wraith, that's just saying how bad these other planets are. How about Aura? Aura is like Wheel of Fortune, except it always hits. So it's at least as good as Wheel of Fortune. It's even better than Wheel of Fortune because Aura, you can, make copies of cards with death. And I always say that. I always say like, oh, the thing that you could do is make copies. How many death cards are you actually going to see in a run? The answer is 5. You're going to see 5 death cards in a run. So Aura is better than 20 bucks, better than a gold card, better than a lucky card, better than these planet cards, better than Ectoplasm. I don't think he gets a graduate. Aura is just so nothing most of the time. I think I'd rather have a Saturn card than an Aura. Like definitely there's like a 1 in 6 chance that you get Polychrome and then, you're off to the races. But I think I'd rather have a Saturn card. Is that true? It's close. Maybe it's close enough that we should be doing this. Alright, Boofin knew the whole time. Alright, it's worse than Blue Seal though. Because Blue Seal is worth like 4 or 5 Saturn cards. Yeah, Polychrome's only 1 in 6. It's half of the time you get foiled. 1/3 of the time you get the other one, the holographic one. So most of the time you get plus chips, and then a third of the time you get plus mult. Nah, they're not even. It's the same with wheel. So, you know, you spin the wheel. If it's going to hit, it hits the 1 and 4. And then after it hits, then, you know, it's a 1/6 chance to be polychrome. Alright, high card is fine, but Pluto is bad. Like, the card is bad. We'll rank it the consumables. Alright, let's go Sigil with the suit change, the Switcho Changeo. I think it's actually... I think it's worse than just getting the suit changing tarot cards. Because, you know, it'll convert a bunch of cards, it'll just do a bunch of random ones or whatever. But you're already committed to doing one already. And so I just want more of that one. I don't want random ones. I would rather... Most of the time I'd rather have Strength than Sigil. But I'd rather have Sigil than Ankh. This seems close. This seems close enough that I could put it there. Sigil, is it fun? Just turning all your cards into you know, a different suit? It is pretty fun. Even if you're already like committed, even if you get it really late, it's still fun to spin the wheel, right? Better early than late. At what point is Ankh good? I think Ankh is good in ante 7 if you got 150 bucks in the bank. Then it's incredible. Then you sell all your jokers and you replace them all in the same shop. Alright, we've got Familiar, we've got Incantation, we've got Grim. So if I'm down here with these three, definitely... I think face cards better than aces, and I think aces better than just random stuff. So like between the three of these, I think these are generally going to be worse than just picking up planets. So maybe like this. So like, you know, they are enhanced cards, random enhanced cards. I hate adding cards too, but I do think there is a use case. I think, you know, if you do get the random, you know, enhanced face cards, you could pick up a gold card. It could be a steel card. Even Molt card wouldn't be that bad. And that's just like these tarot card enhancements. That's not counting like you could have foil and holographic. You could get additions. You could get seals. If you take Incantation, you get 4 cards. That's 4 chances to get seals. 4 chances to get this gold seal. Gold seal is definitely better than Familiar here. Gold seal is definitely better than Wraith. Gold seal is definitely... Is it as good as Devil? I feel like the answer is maybe no. I feel like Gold seal is maybe not as good as Hermit. Is that true? It's got to be better than the Hermit because of the replayability. Hey, if you get enhanced face cards and you just get glass cards, that's a banger. That's a W. Yeah, we'll be doing more after this. So we got like we got a whole another hour after this. We'll cook something up just for you, Mitch. All right, what about Cryptid and Red? All right. Tell me which one's higher between the two of these. Okay. Tell me either Cryptid or Red. Which one's higher between the two of them? Okay, I see. I think I think it seems like red is more popular. Okay, so all right, Mr. Bean, you're gonna have to explain yourself. Defend the cryptid. Everyone else is saying red. Destroyer also cryptid. Cryptid you like early, and then red later on. Tough one is close. Okay, close is good. You know, we can kind of like put them together. Cryptid is better, assuming red has already been played. Ah, okay. So what you're saying is, between the two of these, which would I rather have first, right? I'd rather have red first and then use cryptid to copy it. Okay, but if I don't get red, I could still use cryptid to copy other things. I use cryptid to copy my purple seal. I use cryptid to copy my blue seal. But then that requires me to have other different seals. So what else am I copying? I could use cryptid to copy a gold card. I use cryptid to copy a steel card. At the end of the day, cryptid is just adding, it's still adding cards to the deck, right? Alright, Mr. Bean thinking cryptid is like DNA but busted. It's like DNA but double. Okay, so if DNA, the problem with DNA is adding cards to the deck is bad, then cryptid is doubly bad. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that I can do with red. I think I can go, you know, red, gold, red, steel is like pretty low effort. You know, because the spectral cards at the end of the day, they don't come up that often, right? Only in the spectral packs. And so I'm also realizing that like you can't actually see this. There we go. Yeah. So I think for me, red is definitely better. The question is like how much better. So let's go up here. Let's start up here. So red is worse than 50 bucks. It's worse than Temperance. If I make a red card, am I going to get, in a normal, just like 8 anti-run, just a normal 8 anti-run, is it going to give me more value than 50 bucks is? Sorry, Temperance isn't actually 50 bucks. It's, you know, it's more like 25 bucks most of the time. There's just rare situations where it's good. All right. I think red seal is, I think it's got to be here. It's got to be better than the Fool. I think it's better than any card modification. Except for purple, which gives you all the card modifications. And then Cryptid, with the copy. Cryptid is worse than death. It's a fate worse than death. Which means it's also worse than Hangman. I'd rather just remove 2 cards and get the 1 card more often than to get 3 cards in the deck. Like, obviously, statistically, it works out better if there's a card that you're looking for. It's better to copy it than it is to remove. But if I remove cards, not only can I target that 1 card and get that 1 card more consistently, I get all of my cards more consistently. And like, here's the thing about adding cards to your deck is it doesn't guarantee that you don't miss. Like, it increases the chance that you hit the card that you're looking for if you have more copies of it, but it doesn't guarantee. Whereas like if you remove cards from your deck and you have, you know, only like 35 cards in your deck, 38 cards in your deck, then you're guaranteed to hit. And that's a huge difference. And so for me, you know, Hangman is going to be higher than Cryptid. I think Cryptid is generally better than glass cards though. I think Cryptid has more flexibility. Alright folks, that's going to put a wrap on that's the tier list here. Now let's get back in the lab. Let's do some science. Everyone good with science? Wait, is there anything else that we want to expel? You're right. Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Alright, scrubbers? Or is that scrubbers? There's only one B in there. I'm going to go with scrubbers. And then if you try to correct me, I'll kick you out of my class. Alright. Is there anything else that maybe, okay, maybe after evaluating this, let's see here. Mercury can go down here. It's not that much better than Pluto. I think stone cards, are fine. I think that's where I draw the line. Is like, I don't want to move stone cards down. All right, if you want tower to go down, make a case. All right, Schley. Incantation, you want incantation to go down? Wait, oh, you're right. You're right. You know what? Tower's better than all of these. And then we could do this. We could go Ouija down here. Here's the thing about tower. Is like, tower 100% worse than Pluto and Mercury? Oh, wait. You're saying incantation's worse than Pluto and Mercury. Incantation? No, because... Is incantation worse than Hex? Worse than Ouija? Probably. Is incantation worse than these? Probably. Yeah, 4 cards, adding 4 cards is a lot. You know, the band between 2 and 9, that's a lot. Alright. Thanks for helping out, Zaina. Thanks for catching me. We almost made a huge mistake here. Can you imagine in the comments? You know what they're gonna say? They're gonna say, how come you've been saying temperance is 50 bucks every time? It's not always 50 bucks. It's not even 50 bucks more than 5% of the time. And it's like, well, too bad. Grim and Familiar can stay. Yeah. I think these two can stay. I think getting the just 2 aces is like relatively safe. Like that's the thing you can build around. I think getting the face cards are good because, you know, just the face cards are already good in general. Like those are viable builds. Like the Shoot the Moon for the queens, Baron for the kings, and then the Hit the Road for the jacks is that one's the third. That one is not great, but it's still good enough. You want me to sell you on Tower? So Tower does something that Pluto and Mercury don't do. So Pluto and Mercury give you like a tiny bit of extra scoring, but what they don't do is they don't allow you to win with high card on their own, right? Whereas like Tower plus any plus mult joker, that's enough, right? Plus 50 chips is 5 times as much as a Pluto card, right? And so as long as you have, you know, we said like, what does it take to make high card work? We said you need to have some source of plus mult and some source of plus chips. And Tower is a much better source of plus chips than Pluto is. And if it's early on, then the 1 Tower card, the 1 plus 50, is good enough to carry you so that you can have time to level up your bus, have time for you to level up your green joker. And then once you get to the late game, now you can drop, you know, 2 or 3 Tower cards in the same hand. You can discard until you find 4 stone cards. Yeah, any hand that doesn't play 5 cards, you're playing 2 pair, you're playing 3 of a kind, you're playing 4 of a kind, you can sneak some stone cards in there. Also, you know, as far as like the enhanced jokers, like the jokers that care about enhanced cards, you've got like the golden ticket, for example. For the gold cards, you got the lucky cat for the lucky cards. The stone joker is pretty strong. Like it takes a little bit to get it off the ground, but giving you a huge source of plus chips to all of your hands, you know, similar power level to the stuntman. Obviously it's going to take you longer to get there, but you know, it is similar flavor to the stuntman. You know, it used to be familiar. You would get random face cards and you could get stone cards, and now you can't anymore. And so that's why the Tower is better. You think Blue Shield should be higher? I think if you have a Source of X Molt, if you have ×2 from the glass cards, I think you don't need as many planet cards as you might think. Also, holding blue cards in hand is not free. I think what I learned from this exercise is like, these are situational, but like they're not painful to see them in the game. And of course, Mercury and Pluto, they are situational, they do have their use, but they are very weak.